Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleos. Welcome back to our verse-by-verse study on the book of Matthew. We're starting chapter 7 today, the last of three chapters of the great Sermon on the Mount. This is the sermon by Christ to the Galileans, mostly Jews, I think, trying to help them elevate their sense of righteousness and need for righteousness, a righteousness that surpasses the law, that surpasses the Pharisees, that can only be obtained by Messiah, faith in Messiah. He's presenting himself as that object of faith, their Messiah, coming to bring the kingdom, which he's already preached, to save their souls. And so basically saying, whatever you read in the law, whatever the Pharisees have told you, that is not enough. There's a higher level of righteousness needed. Having said that, today we start on judging. We'll go through verses 1 through 6 in chapter 7. Let's go to the text. Judge not, that ye be not judged. This is the basic word for judge, kino, in the original Greek. And he's basically saying that be careful how you judge others, assess them, because that judgment will come back to you and you'll be judged by the same way. Verse 2 says, For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure you met, it shall be measured to you again. So whatever you measure, it's going to be measured to you the same way. Now again, let me emphasize, he's not talking to Christians. Okay, we're after the resurrection, death and resurrection of Christ. A true born-again believer who has believed on that death and resurrection of Christ is forgiven. Okay, we know believers will be judged, their works will be judged, but not unto death. Okay, that it'll be a burning, or our bad works will burn away, with the gold and silver, the good works left for all to see. 1 Corinthians 3, about 15 or 16, I think. All of them will see it. Everybody will see it, but the good works will be left at a very minimum. Here he's telling them, be careful how you judge. So basically saying, again, you can't go around judging people. You need not to do that. Again, what's required is something more, a better righteousness. And he goes on to explain. Verse 3, And why beholdest thou the mote, this is like a piece of straw, that is in the eye of thy brothers, but considereth not the beam, something really big, that is in thine own eye. Okay, a familiar passage to many of us. Verse 4, And how wilt thou say to thy brother, Let me pull out that mote out of thine eye, and behold a beam in thine own eye? 5, You hypocrite. Otherwise, they're doing something that they're telling others they shouldn't do. They're doing it themselves. First cast out the beam out of thy own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote of thy brother's eye. So if you remove that beam from your own eye, you may be able to perceive more clearly the real significance of that mote in your brother's eye. That may change because sin distorts our ability to assess. Verse 6, he changes the topic a little. Give not that which is holy unto dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you, tear you apart, basically. So he goes from judging to talking about what we give to others in terms of righteousness. Now, commentators generally think this is the gospel. Don't give the gospel to people who don't respect it. I think that could well be true, though these people may not have understood the gospel at this point. There's something called the gospel of the kingdom, which Christ mentioned several times. Otherwise, they were to have faith in Messiah and are being responsible for the information that they've been given by him in which to believe. So they perhaps could express the gospel in this way. I think more generally it's the righteousness they have in their lives, the knowledge of the law, of Messiah, whatever they have. Just don't cast this out indiscriminately for people who will come back and hurt you with it, perhaps through persecution or bringing you down. And these people are called swine and dogs. These were unclean animals to the Jews. So have some discrimination, he's telling them. Some respect for what you have. So again, I think he's trying to increase the sense of the knowledge of the increase the sense they need more righteousness. They need to respect what they've been given and not just throw it out indiscriminately for people who will deny it and perhaps mock it and come back and hurt you with it. So you've been given godly things, use it in godly ways. Okay, so what do we learn from these first 6 verses? Well, it's saying be very careful how you judge, because in that economy, that management scheme in the Gospels, that could come back and hurt them in terms of their own judgment. Secondly, he says, have a high regard to what you have, the knowledge that you have and what God has given you, and don't throw this out to people who will not respect it and perhaps use it against you. All again saying, you need to be better at who you are. You need to be more righteous. This is only going to happen if you trust in me, Christ is saying, come to me in faith and I can supply that. I'm the fulfillment of the law, he says. Okay, we'll come to several wonderful verses next time. Glad you were here today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.